Hey everyone, I don't know if you can hear me or not on the internet, but you're looking great, and I want you to know that. Corey, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
In the neighborhood?
Christian's being supportive
I like to be.
of the cause right now. We are officially live.
It's live from Saturday night,
As usual, whenever we do this show.
but funny.
Basically. Well, that's not necessarily true. I think every once in a while there's a diamond in the rough when it comes to
Like
SNL.
when Pedro Pascal does It's a Me, Mario.
Yes, when Pedro Pascal does his Mario thing, it's pretty good. But guys, obviously, this is a live Nerdcast. We haven't done this in nearly a year.
Don't say that, Corey. Don't let the people know.
It's pretty much the truth. And again, we're always trying new things. We're trying to get technical difficulties under control, of which we have a slight new setup today. It's not exactly what we're hoping for, but
wow, setting the expectations low. Love it, Corey.
I'm just trying to be realistic.
Tell them all about our problems in life.
Pretty much that's it. But again, make sure to let us guys know in the chat like how things are sounding, how things are looking, because we're going to be switching between a couple different camera angles. And,
hey, chat, let's go. Shit. So I'm not supposed to swear in the first 30
demonetize.
seconds.
I don't know. I think we got past 30 seconds. So
okay,
I think
you're probably right.
Okay,
let's go.
If that's the case on that one. But again, everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Powerful Nerdcast. We're doing another live edition, and if you couldn't tell from the thumbnail and from the big schedule stream that was planned out, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Brothers, which is a brand new movie just dropped. And, everybody and their mom has been talking about this movie for the last week because it's the biggest release of 2023. It's the biggest release of the year. It's the highest grossing animated opening film of all time, toppling Disney and all of their other big movies. And we had the opportunity to go see it last week. We have some thoughts on the film, and we're going to talk about all that as well as sort of what's been kind of going on in the industry in terms of movies and how audiences have been receiving them. And of course, this little sort of like civil war that's been going on between like normal audiences and professional critics, because that's been one of the biggest discussions about this film.
Yes.
Is how it's not Shakespeare. It's not a Coen Brothers movie. It's the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's a movie that's based on a video game, and history will tell us that video game movies tend to, well, suck ass.
That's a good point.
Know,
video game movies are literally an automatic, most likely not going to be good. But lately, well, actually, I think that changed with X-Men and like Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
Like, that's when the shift happened. That's when movies that were based off comic books and video games and things started to change and they started to become good. But when you go back and you look at like, well, obviously the original Mario Brothers movie is just so bad. And not so bad it's good. Just so bad, period, end of sentence.
Just bad. They missed the mark on it. It's not to say they didn't have good people working behind it. I love Bob Hoskins. I love John Leguizamo, despite the fact that he has just been drilling this movie from all sides.
He really wanted a redemption arc, and he just didn't get it.
I feel bad for John Leguizamo because I do. I like him. I like him in a lot of different things. And
I liked The Pest.
Unironically?
Yes, I like that movie. I think that movie would be like canceled. Remember when he pretended to be Chinese and he started screaming Chinese words at his boss? Yeah,
that's like totally like Mickey Rooney in Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's like canceled shit now. You can't do that.
You can't do that stuff anymore. But, I love John Leguizamo despite that. But this is like our first real traditional Mario movie. And before we even just, get into our general thoughts and everything, obviously, Christian, we had the pleasure of growing up during, I want to call it the inception of Mario. Like, we grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so we got to see like Mario's introduction to the world. I remember being at Best Buy when Mario 64 came out and like sitting there. Remember how they had the controller sticking out of the thing with the big plastic tube coming off and you could like hold it. And I remember being like, this is one of the best Mario games of my life, like, or the best video games I'd ever played. And of course I played Super Mario Brothers 2 on Super Nintendo. I played the original Super Mario Brothers on the original Nintendo. My parents wouldn't buy me a video game system, so I would only play it at my grandparents' house. My grandpa loved video games or technology in general. And I remember just burning time on those games. And I loved Mario. I always do. I have not played every Mario game that's come out on like Switch. Like, I haven't played the new soccer game, the new tennis game, the new golf game, I played a little bit of Mario Kart, but mostly at your house because you have it. Like Mario is still like, we bought the new Mario Party. We both did because we both like playing. And we've
like,
had multiple nights of like,
Mario parties.
My girlfriend and I would play with you and your wife, and those are really, really fun.
Whoa.
Why are you saying you get into that direction? This is rated E for everyone, man. This
Okay,
is Mario.
That's right.
But yeah, Mario is, in many ways, he's Mr. Video Game. He's that classic character. He's arguably
Absolutely.
the most, I don't even want to say arguably at this point, he is the most famous video game character of all time. He's the Mickey Mouse of video games.
Yes.
Just as well known as, characters just like that. So it was only a matter of time, I think, before Nintendo let their guard down. They're like, okay, we got this big IP that's really popular. It makes a lot of money. People love this character. Let's try again, and let's try to be a little more faithful, because that was the interesting thing about like the original Super Mario Brothers movie. Because like when it was made, Nintendo, like, I don't think they quite knew what they had yet, and that's because Mario was kind of new.
Well, if you put Mario on paper,
yeah,
he's a little dude. He's got overalls on that are red. He's a plumber, and he like jumps on things to defeat them.
Yeah,
Like it's not like nothing about that is like that's a winning formula right there. We're going to base our whole company image on that character.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously that character evolved. To me, the biggest jump was Super Mario Brothers 2, where you got Yoshi and stuff, and you had the world map. Wait, the world map also came on the other game.
So,
because I'm talking about the world, that's to me what made it more alive. When you had to select your level and
yeah,
go
like
places.
Super Mario Brothers 3 introduced like these giant maps that you could go around, but they were all sort of like, they were stuck on the screen. You just went from level to level.
You went from dot to dot.
And then Super Mario World came out, and it was the first game to have like a giant interconnected world where you could go from like island to island.
And there were secret paths and stuff.
It felt like you said, it was like a real living, breathing world.
Yes. Yes.
And there'd never been anything like that before. And, for me, Super Mario World is, that's like my Mario game as a kid. Like my first video game ever was Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo, the one that came with Duck Hunt. And I played the hell out of it, and I really enjoyed it. I played a little bit of Mario 2. I played a lot of Mario 3, which I think is sort of the groundwork for the entire series.
I agree.
But World was the one that got me like really invested in video games in general and in the world of Mario. And you've known me for a long time, and
you literally may be the most, and I mean this, internet, go toe to toe with Corey. Actually, there's probably a bigger nerd out there that loves Nintendo more than Corey.
I guarantee there is.
But I tell you right now, Corey is one of the most hardcore Nintendo fans. I don't mean video game fans. I mean Nintendo fans.
Yeah.
You are a Nintendo.
I'm very
freak.
loyal to the Nintendo machine. And
yes.
Mario in particular has always been one of my favorites. I've always had a soft spot for it. I don't play every game, but like the mainline games, like whenever those come out, like those are the ones that always like, I'm like, I must play that. I must play it on the day that it comes out. And occasionally I'll dip my toes into like, I always play Mario Kart, but maybe some of the other sports games. But the fact of the matter is, I love the mainline Mario games. I love the RPGs like Paper Mario and Mario Luigi and all that stuff. So I knew it was only a matter of time before we would get this movie. And for them to do it properly, I've always been saying for years, I'm like, if they make a Mario movie, they don't need to make it a live action film. They need to embrace
it's a cartoon movie
aesthetic of it, which is it's a cartoon. It's very cartoony, and they need to like play to those strengths, and that is what this movie did to a T.
They didn't mess up and try to say, "Oh, here's a block. See, we did it," or "Here's a turtle. Here's a guy that sort of looks like Bowser, but we had to anthropomorphize him."
Exactly.
They're like, no, it's these characters. They literally explain that there's worlds up front, like as he's being warped in the world, you see the tubes that go off into the other worlds. You see they even talk about the other worlds. You literally see a lot of them. Like you see the one with the sand and the pyramids. You see the
you see Bob on Battlefield.
Yeah, you see
Mario 64.
You see Mushroom Kingdom, which is probably the one you're in the most. And they literally took them from the video game. Like if you took Mario Odyssey and made it a movie, it's kind of like this.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
Except Metro City, is that kind of where Mario's from? They didn't really like get into that.
So here's the thing. In this movie, what they
do...
do...
it's the Bronx. He said the Bronx.
He's in New York. He's in Brooklyn.
Oh,
and that's actually one of the things that I thought
I'm plumbing here.
And that was one of the things that was pretty interesting about this movie. Despite the fact that it wanted to get as far away from the live action film from the early 90s, it actually took a lot of inspiration from it, as well as, of course, from the Mario cartoon from when we were kids, the Super Show.
I never watched that, but I know what you're talking about.
So I grew up watching that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a great show or anything, but it's what we had. And when you're a kid and you love Mario, you'll take whatever you can get. And it was animated, so it looked like the games.
Yes.
But in that show, the biggest difference is that Mario and Luigi are from the real world. They're from New York, in particular Brooklyn, and they incorporate that into this movie. And this is going to be controversial amongst like the people who enjoy this film. I loved all the Brooklyn stuff. I really enjoyed seeing Mario and Luigi in the real world because that's something that we don't ever really see.
Well, they are humans. They're not like mythical heroes that exist in this land. They're
not the chosen people.
No, they're just dudes that are kind of normal, average people from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And they're even trying to get their business going at the beginning. And I love how they say, hey, we're dressed like this because we just got off the commercial shoot and it's our brand.
Like plumbers don't wear white gloves.
Yeah, they even brought that up. And I love the family scene at the dinner table because everyone's kind of shitting on them. Everyone's kind of like saying like, hey, this might not work.
Dude, the first like 15 minutes of this movie, everyone is shitting on the Mario Brothers. Like no one likes them. They're unsuccessful. They spent their life savings on the shittiest, greatest commercial ever.
It's good.
It's just really funny. And their family. I loved seeing Mario and his actual family, like seeing his mom and his dad and his uncles and everything.
It's like
because they're the most stereotypical like Italian family.
Yeah, it's
like they bust his balls like the whole time.
To me, it reminded me of Nutty Professor, where they're all sitting around. Obviously, they're not all played by Mario, but
well, fun fact, Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, he voices two characters in this movie. He's the voice of this one random one-off Italian character.
I thought he's the uncle.
No, he plays the dad. Yes. At the dinner table. He basically is Papa Mario.
Yes.
Who's basically like, my son's a failure and you're bringing your brother down.
Yeah.
And then you have this other really stereotypical character whose name is Giuseppe, who
essentially is Mario.
Yeah, and he may or may not be related to him. They show him at the beginning and he does like the classic wahoo and jump up and everything. And like that's just pure Charles Martinet right there. I'm glad they threw the dude a bone because a lot of people
they could have just replaced him. But let's be fair, not that the guy couldn't do it, but Mario from the video games does not have this much range. Like he is not a talking character. He goes wahoo, he goes whoa when he dies.
Yeah, exactly.
He makes a few noises, but he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't speak a paragraph. So the idea of using that voice actor was dumb.
Yeah.
And they knew that.
They were really smart to address that at the beginning of the movie too. Because they showed that commercial. And in the commercial, they actually had Chris Pratt and Charlie Day, Mario and Luigi, doing those like really goofy cartoony Italian accents.
It's us.
As soon as the commercial's done, they're like, is this too much? Like, should we do this the entire time? So I'm glad that they at least addressed that.
Yeah, they addressed it right away.
Everybody was just giving Chris Pratt shit.
Well, they addressed it. It worked. And then they never brought it up again. Yeah. And I like that. Mm-hmm. But the movie is good at addressing things.
Yes.
There's very good, ability at addressing things. Like, and they also don't try to shove in every character. Because one, they probably wanted to see if this movie was successful. Mm-hmm. Like you don't get any Diddy Kong development. You get to see him, but you don't get any, the Boos were not in the movie.
Yeah, aside from one King Boo cameo at the end, which only people like me are gonna get excited to kind of see that stuff. And I did. I got like overly excited to see that.
The Bob-Bombs were not overly in it.
Bob-Bomb.
He was in it, but not like all the bombs.
Whom Princess Peach mercilessly kills.
Yes.
In this movie, which I found very funny, to be perfectly honest.
Technically, he's a suicide bomber. But we don't talk about that.
we don't talk about that with the Bob-Bomb.
And then, but we didn't even go to the Egyptian world. Or the pyramid world, whatever you want to call that.
They kind of kept things sort of relegated to just like a few locations in this movie. And again, like you said, they're probably testing the waters just to kind of see what they can do here with this movie.
What makes sense.
They wanted to take what is the most iconic imagery from the classic Mario series, and they wanted to put that on screen. And they did a pretty damn good job with it, I have to say.
I agree.
Visually, let's just get this part of the way, because that's the best part of the movie for me. This is a great looking movie.
Yeah.
Everything in this movie looks really good, from the character design to the background to the composition of all the crazy wacky scenes, which really lean into being super cartoony and spastic and crazy. Again, they played to the strengths of what Mario really is. And even before the first trailers came out, I was really afraid. I was like, oh man, what are they going to make these characters look like? Are they going to try and stylize them a little bit? Is this going to be like when they showed Sonic for the very first time? And I'm glad they went in the opposite direction. And the reason they probably went in that direction is because at the very beginning of the movie, you can see in those credits, one of the producers is Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario and a ton of other Zelda things. And that dude was just hovering over Illumination's team, the team that made this movie the entire time.
And
like,
they had
you
a
can't
hard,
do that. You can do this.
They had a hard job because they're like, we can't just randomly start and it's a Mario movie. Like we must world build and connect things on some level. Like we need them in the real world and then they get transported to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Exactly.
We need to talk about where Princess Peach came from because you can't just be one chick in a field full of mushroom people. Like that makes no sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. So we need to build the world, but tell us when we're, going too far. Like they could have easily made Princess Peach woke or something. And they decided to dial that back. And I told this to my wife. I was like, they made her a strong character, but they didn't make her shit on the men to be strong.
No. And that's not to say that she didn't doubt Mario initially when seeing him for the very first time.
Well, she just know the guy.
But she just met him for the very first time. Also meeting a human for like the very first time since she was a baby.
She's been talking to semi-retarded mushrooms her whole life.
Yeah. You know what it kind of reminded me of? The whole Mushroom Kingdom thing.
Can I say the R word anymore?
I think
I'm in trouble.
You know what? It's too late now.
Uh-oh.
But it kind of reminded me of Adventure Time a little bit.
It had that wacky world kind of vibe to it, for sure.
The only reason I say that is because, like, when they show like the Mushroom Kingdom and the Toads, and they're ruled over by this like singular person who is the brave one.
Yes.
Kind of like Princess Bubblegum and all the candy people. How like they're useless and they can't really do much because they're just so dumb and childlike. And they have to rely on this one person to take care of them. It is interesting. They gave Peach an origin. This movie.
I mean, as much as it could be. I remember being a baby and then I was here.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's good because they need to address it.
Happened like in any, it's just always, you just assume this is a magical world where there's just a human who rules over all of these weird.
Who cuts her hair? None of the Toads have hair.
We don't ask
these questions.
Are those things hats? Are they a part of their head?
Yeah.
I don't think they ever addressed that.
I think they're mushroom people.
So I would like to think they're part of their head.
But do they like living in homes that look like their bodies? Like, I don't know.
You don't question that. And I will say that is one thing I'm glad they leaned hard into. And this is something that I wish a lot of comic book movies would do. Just embrace the overall design of your series. Like this is like,
do toads eat mushrooms?
We don't question that there are floating blocks or that there are question mark blocks that have power-ups. They mention Princess Peach, like, we have power-ups in this world. Mario never once asks after that, like, what's a power-up? Where do they come from?
Midi-chlorians.
No.
None of that.
This is just a thing. You hit the thing, you get another thing, and
you turn into a cat. You turn into a cat. Yeah, what about Seth Rogen as DK?
DK. Okay, so let's just go through the characters. Let's start with DK because I didn't even think DK was going to be in this initially because, let's focus on Mario and his crew. But Donkey Kong does exist in the Mario universe, and most hardcore Nintendo people know that Mario's first appearance was in Donkey Kong, the original arcade game. So it makes sense to bring him in and to give him a slight redesign, which is a little more classic, but still taking in elements of the Donkey Kong Country series and some of those aspects. And for me, Seth Rogen is probably my least favorite part of the movie. And it's not because...
I'll tell you what, I don't really care about his voice acting. It did nothing for me against or for the movie, but I liked the DK character.
Yeah. I mean... I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, putting DK in this Mario movie was a risky thing for me because I'm like, I love Donkey Kong too. Like, I love the Donkey Kong Country series. Like, we already discussed, I like Mario, but when it comes to like atmosphere and music, I think the Donkey Kong Country series is second to none.
Well, you always remember the first Donkey Kong game on Super Nintendo had the amazing 3D graphics that they had pre-rendered to make it look 3D, but it wasn't.
Exactly.
And the music was great. Was it the water level that has one of the most iconic
aquatic ambiance?
Yeah, the aquatic ambiance.
The David Wise
second
soundtrack.
Only to Mario 64's water level soundtrack. And then you take I just remember playing that game and thinking, this is the future.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Little did I know these were all pre-rendered 3D graphics.
Yeah.
They're not actually like 3D.
But again, that was revolutionary at the time.
Yeah.
But they put Donkey Kong in this movie, and I think that's cool. Obviously, I also think it's an excuse to sort of let's build up this whole Nintendo world a little bit. Let's get ready to create a potential spin-off.
Yes.
With Donkey Kong. I mean, can Seth Rogen Donkey Kong carry a whole film? We'll have to see. It's kind of hard to say because he actually doesn't do that much in this movie. He's basically there as a vehicle to get our Mario characters to another location. But I thought he was fine. It's what I expect from Donkey Kong as a character, which is he's kind of a big, dumb, heroic gorilla who is a little headstrong about certain things. But ultimately, like Mario, he's a character who has a big heart and simply just wants to help people. But at the same time, he's also got to put on a little bit of bravado. And hilariously enough, they try to shoehorn in this whole like angle with him and Mario where like they don't get the respect from their fathers. Like that's about as deep is the characterization goes in this movie of Donkey Kong and Mario relating on the level that, hey, my dad doesn't really, respect me or think that, I can be successful or anything. That's like their biggest hang up. That conversation lasts about 30 seconds before another crazy thing actually happens. But I liked Donkey Kong in this movie, and I love the battle that he and Mario have in the Kong Kingdom because, again, we love Smash Brothers, and that felt very much like a Smash Brothers fight.
Yeah, I mean, they even had Smash Brothers attacks. The Tanuki suit was great. The cat suit was great. I've never played the Mario game with the cat suit.
It's Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah, I never played that one.
I was glad that they included that because
it's not the most popular Mario power-up.
No, but it's still...
But cats.
Cats are popular.
Big on the internet.
Very big with the focus groups.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing that because it's a funny-looking suit. And I'm glad that they at least brought in those suits because those are the most ridiculous power-ups. I mean, it's basically Mario in a furry suit.
Whoa. You went there.
Aside from the whole yif,
yif.
crap, we don't have to bring in the fucking...
Let's not get into the dark side of furries. Yeah. But yeah, the idea is it was a cool suit. It gave him a cool power up. He essentially was really fast and agile, and he kicked Donkey Kong's ass because of it. And then let's get to Jack Black and Bowser.
All right. So the highlight of the movie is Jack Black as Bowser. I mean, it just is. He's the best cast of the entire movie.
You can't put Jack Black in something and him not steal the show.
No, he does it the entire time. I think he's the character that felt the most like his game counterpart in every way. Mostly if you played like the RPG games like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, because Bowser, there's bad guys and there's good guys in Mario, but it's in a cartoony sense. And Bowser's always been that kind of character. Like, he's not like super evil. He's not Turtle Hitler. That's not who Bowser is.
Well, he is. He's just a guy that wants power.
Basically, yeah. He wants everyone to think he's awesome and that he's strong, and he wants a strong woman by his side. He's in love with Peach. And I was initially thinking, are they going to go in a different direction with this movie? Because the biggest thing about this movie is that Peach does not get kidnapped. Typically, that's like the plot of most Mario games.
Yeah, I agree.
He comes in, steals the princess. Mario and Luigi got to go save her. It's a little different here. Luigi's the one who actually ends up getting captured, but they still kept the element that Bowser is obsessed with Peach. Like, he's absolutely in love with her, and that's like his main motivation for everything he does. So I'm glad that they were still able to keep that in, and it led to arguably the funniest moments of the movie. Not just getting to see a lot of awkward reactions from him, but of course, everyone and their mom is talking about the Peaches song.
The Peaches song is great, but that's like Jack Black is our character. Give him a song to sing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what it is. And it was great.
It was fantastic. But again, they still carried a lot of what made Bowser such a fun character to begin with. His design is perfect, but they still managed to somehow, I don't know how they did it, but they like incorporated Jack Black's like facial features,
his essence. Oh, I'm sure they did motion capture for some of this. Like maybe they, put Jack Black in a suit to have him act out certain elements.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't do it for all of it because some of it's not needed.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just did it for his face. Like,
but I'm curious, like during the sequence where he does like his musical number, like, did they just have Jack Black at like,
just imagine him in a room with a suit with balls all over it, just playing that song.
Yeah.
Or what's
they
happening?
Just like filmed it and they animated around it somehow, like, or at least to capture a little bit of what he did.
Yeah.
It was impossible that they were going to get Jack Black in this movie, not have him sing. It's just what he does.
It is just what he does.
And it felt like something from Tenacious D. Like, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, like if you gave him a Mario song to write and he played at a Tenacious D concert as Bowser, it would totally fit.
Yeah.
And he was just great. And he had the most character development probably besides Mario. I mean,
and also like I said, he was goofy and he was funny. But even at the end of the film, they still managed to make him like intimidating. Like when he's beating the shit out of Mario, like it's surprisingly intense. Like his anger really comes across really well. Usually I'm against the idea of these big tentpole animated films bringing in like big celebrity voice actors because I like voice actors. I like them to get work because that's what they've honed their craft to do. But Jack Black is a living cartoon character at this point.
Yes.
So he was just perfectly cast as Bowser in this film. And like I said, he got the biggest laughs out of our theater, I think.
Yeah.
And definitely my favorite aspect of the entire movie. But let's talk about the Mario Brothers because, they're the main characters of the movie, namesake of the film. Chris Pratt as Mario. I did not mind it at all.
No, I don't mind. I didn't care when it was announced because he did Lego Movie and I liked him in that. And I was like, this will work. And everyone says it won't, doesn't understand that he's actually good at this.
Yeah.
He can play a little goofy. Oh, by the way, I fell in love with Chris Pratt during Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And then I really liked him during the first Guardians. And then, to be honest, besides watching a Lego movie on an airplane, I've like watched none of his stuff.
Yeah.
I watched like the first 10 minutes of his serious show on Amazon where he was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. It's not bad. You know, the man's family got murdered and now he's going on revenge, you know, and I get it, you know, and his job is killing.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that, you know, it's every show you've ever seen that has the badass guy on the revenge kick. And I like Chris Pratt. I think he gets shit on a lot for, I can't tell why, besides he's easy to shit on. But, and I also hear a lot of people talk crap about him because he's like a super Christian dude and that just doesn't fly in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But too bad he's too famous now.
Yeah, I mean, he's starred in so many billion-dollar franchises at this point, and he's having a great year. You know, I mean, the new Guardians is about to drop in about a month.
Which is going to be great. I really believe, because it has nothing to do with anything else. It doesn't have to carry any other movies. It just gets to be a Guardians movie. I hope Thor isn't even in it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want Thor.
No, I don't want Thor near anything after the last movie, to be perfectly honest. That movie sucked.
Man, it started off so strong in the beginning. You're like, wow, this is going to be a fun, light, great movie. And then it just slowly fell apart the whole way through. And then they just kept shoving in women stuff. And never mind, I won't get into that.
Slithering out of the asshole that is Hollywood. It was really bad. But,
it was so bad.
But Pratt as Mario in this movie I thought was good. He captured everything about the character, which is, you know, this is a classic, the hero's journey kind of story. And I think he did a really good job of doing that. I think a lot of people were afraid initially when they were showing previews for this that Mario was going to be kind of like sidelined by Peach, sort of like taking charge of everything.
Yeah.
But this is how you do a hero's story, where you present him with a problem, with something that he has to overcome. And he does that throughout the course of the entire movie, starting out kind of reluctant and nervous, but then eventually becoming accustomed to this world, overcoming it, and essentially becoming a hero, which is exactly what the character has to do, but also not doing it flawlessly. Mario gets his ass beat throughout most of the movie, but one of the biggest aspects of his character, and something that I think a lot of kids
they push it. Yeah, they push this message a lot.
Is you don't give up.
You don't give up when things get hard.
Your successes are built about how many times you get up, not how many times you get knocked down, and that's what Mario is all about in this movie. And it's also sort of reflective of the games. When you're playing a Mario game for the first time, you're probably going to suck initially. You're going to be falling down pits and getting hurt and not doing it right. But the more you practice and the more you play, the more confident you get, the more better you get at it. And that's exactly what they did with Mario in this movie. And I really did like that aspect of it. But again, he's not flawless. And the same goes for the other characters in the film. We briefly mentioned this with Peach. I like that you mentioned they didn't go super woke with her.
No.
And they still made her really strong, but they also made sure that she had flaws. She wasn't perfect. She would get in trouble. She would mess up. She would try to stop Bowser. Guess what? It didn't work at all. They really made sure that these characters had to come together and work together in order to accomplish something. It wasn't just one character who was just singularly perfect the entire time. That even goes with Luigi, who was, again, like Jack Black. I think they're like, we need to find someone who can voice this character and do really good. And they chose Charlie Day, who most people know from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but his neuroticism is perfect for Luigi.
It's a perfect Luigi vibe. And also Luigi was good. They established the character. He's a little nervous. He's a little weird. And he's like the brother, you know, of Mario. And he's kind of in his shadow. He follows Mario. That's a big vibe. Even in the games, you sort of get that vibe. And I think that that's really important because it sets Luigi up to get his, you know, what is it, Haunted Mansion? What is it called?
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion movie.
I'm glad they at least had a few scenes in here that kind of paid homage to that.
Yeah, like that he ran away from the skeleton,
the dry bones,
the
zombie Koopas
into a mansion,
which is perfect. Only to be did that Shy Guy scene actually like?
It was terrifying. Yeah, it was very terrifying.
I actually thought it was kind of creepy when they did that. I expected a bunch of boos to show up. But they decided to go with the Shy Guys, which I still appreciate.
You know, I always think Squid Game's design feels like a Shy Guy.
They are,
they're very
like all the guards and stuff.
Yeah,
they're a little Shy Guyish for sure.
Yeah.
But Charlie Day in this movie was great. I wish he was in it more. But he had a very.
It was a Mario movie though.
Yeah. Again, it is the Super Mario Brothers, but they still at least gave him a good B plot, and we managed to go back to him. The cool thing about Charlie Day scenes is, you know, it almost always involved Bowser, which was really great. And even by the end of the film, he was reunited with Mario, and they got to have that great sequence when they got the superstar And that's when the movie just went full anime for a moment.
Yeah, they end up fighting Bowser because they're powered up.
Yeah, like, and
I didn't know stars work that way. If you both touch it at the same time, you both get the power. I don't think that actually works.
I don't think that actually works in the games either. But whatever, they broke rules a little bit. They can break some rules in this movie.
Yeah.
But that whole final sequence is great. And again, it brings home the message of this is about family. This is about working together. Ultimately, it is a family film for families. And that I want to talk about the next aspect of the film that's been really, weird amongst people is people just expected like some Pixar level Coen brothers writing.
You keep bringing this up. I didn't get that vibe from the internet, but if you did, then that's fine.
And it could be just because it is just oversaturated with a lot of opinions like that.
I just wanted a good Mario movie, and I feel like that's what I got. I didn't get something that taught me a giant life lesson. I just got to understand who Bowser was. I got to understand who Mario was and Luigi, Peach, and the world they lived in. And then they went on an adventure, and it was simple, fun, and satisfying.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to teach me a giant life lesson about the pain of loss and a metaphor on doing what you got to do in life. Like, you can look for those themes, but really it's just a fun sort of vibe movie that plays within the Mario universe.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's all I really wanted from a Mario movie.
Yeah.
Because again, they took what was the essence of the games and they turned it into 90 minutes of just pure fun and referential humor and Easter eggs for the fans to actually enjoy. There didn't need to be anything deeper. And if they want to do that, they can do that for the next movie. They can mine for some more of these characters' development and give us something a little deeper. But I'd be completely okay if we just got another film just like this that was frankly just a lot of fun, that introduced new elements from the games that we haven't seen before, new characters and possibilities. And this movie made it very clear there's going to be more. There is a post-credit scene, which is setting up Yoshi, which is,
Yoshi!
Exactly. You got to have Yoshi.
They do travel in herds.
They do travel.
Sorry, that's what I said when I saw the Yoshis running in the background. Yeah, and then there were just a lot of other fun characters. This is the main thing that I think kids' movies do well. They don't waste the side characters. Like, you got the Great Penguins. Mm-hmm. You got the goofy luminous star thing.
That is one of the most surprising characters of the film.
Also the darkest.
Yeah, Lumily, who is essentially this little star person from Super Mario Galaxy. They're called Lumas, and basically you feed them these like items called star bits, and they turn into planets, and you go to a level. And they brought in this character in this movie who's like a prisoner of Bowser, along with a lot of other people. It's the most nihilistic character in the entire movie. Basically, the whole
it's like the only way out is the sweet embrace of death. It's like, what?
It's like, whoa, okay. And it goes into this surprising dark territory with this character. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that they did that too, because this is a character from a more recent Mario game, the Mario Galaxy series. Again, just like the Donkey Kong stuff, it's sort of hinting that there's a bigger world out there and things we haven't quite seen yet. It's inevitable that eventually we're going to get a Mario movie where everybody goes to space and we're going to see all these characters and they're going to introduce Rosalina and the Lumas. And this was just a really fantastic way to do it. Another thing that I loved about this movie, and something, it's kind of a 50-50 for me. I loved the music in this movie. Whoever did the score did a fantastic job of taking a lot of the classic Mario music.
To be fair, I don't think it was hard to nail this music. You just say, oh, we're at this place. Here are the 5 choices of music we could use here.
But they cram so much. There's some scenes where Mario and Toad are just walking around the Mushroom Kingdom. There will be 30 seconds that go by, and they'll put in 10 different type of Mario songs.
Yes, they used them all. And I like that.
I really love that. And as a huge Mario fan who loves the music just as much as the games, it was fun getting to like, oh, what is that music? Or like getting to hear like, whoa, I did not expect them to use, Fossil Falls from Super Mario Odyssey for like 10 seconds here. It makes no sense, but it's great. When they're exploring the underground, you hear that classic da-na-na-na-na music.
Yeah, exactly.
Subtle stuff like that I thought was really great. And I loved the music. I really wish the entire film could just be the Mario music. But of course, it's a movie made by Hollywood and in particular Illumination. They're not going to hit the mark every single time. And my only real grievance with this movie is the use of certain pop songs, and some of them just felt wrong to me and unnecessary.
There's like a lot of 80s rock. I feel like Thor fucked this up, or the Guardians did it So everyone wants to put in classic rock in their music.
Well, I mean, a lot of movies, especially kids' films, they love to
used to just be in the trailers. Like you used to get like Iron Man in the Iron Man trailer and stuff. Like you used to get kind of cool songs like used for trailers, but now they like to mix them in, and it makes sense. It's a cool song. It's good for a montage.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it's like takes you out of the world a little bit with some of the music choices.
Now, some of them they didn't bother me that much. Like in the opening scene when they're in New York and they're in Brooklyn and they're running through, and there's this really great sort of like homage to the side-scrolling sequences of Mario and Luigi. And again, it also firmly establishes that they're fairly nimble guys. So them, getting accustomed to the mushroom world is not that difficult. But they play Beastie Boys, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. I was like, okay, it's a little weird, but it fits with everything that's going on. But then there are just moments like at the beginning of the film when Bowser's invading the Ice Kingdom and all the penguins come out and they start to fight him. I love how they handled it in the original trailer where there is no ridiculous music, but in here they bring in that stupid Kill Bill slow-mo walking song, which has been used so fucking much.
Essentially, they had a Kill Bill scene in this.
They did, and I didn't like it. It didn't last long. It was literally 5 seconds, but I was just like, do they have to play this? You could have put in some cool Mario music or something.
The Quentin Tarantino effect. He has had such a big effect on culture that they now use his vibes throughout all of media, all of pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that scene bothered me. I didn't like the fact that during the whole training montage sequence where Princess Peach is teaching Mario, how you're going to survive this world, they played I Need a Hero. I'm like, that has just been played out. Like
they should have had him run up a mountain holding with snow, holding the big thing like from Rocky.
Yeah. I would have preferred the Rocky song. Like with him running up to the top of the mountain screaming Bowser, that would be awesome. But no, they did the I need a hero song, and I don't know. I was like, y'all could have just chose some really great heroic Mario music to play during that moment to remind us of why we love this stuff. And then the only other one that kind of sticks out to me that I didn't really care for was when they go to the Kong Kingdom for the first time and they enter the kingdom. And instead of getting just some awesome remix of Donkey Kong country music, which they totally should have just done, we get Aha's Take on Me. And I get it. It's an 80s song. Mario and Donkey Kong are from the 80s and everything, but it just doesn't fit.
See, I don't remember any of this, so you must have a better memory.
So here's the thing, though. While this is a grievance of mine, it's very minor because even though they use a lot of these licensed songs, they don't use them long. They're not there for a very long time. Like I'll even take Thunderstruck during the whole let's create our kart sequence.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how'd you feel about the Mario Kart stuff? Did you
think
that was
here's the thing. Yes and no. I love Mario Kart. It's not my favorite of the Mario series, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I just thought that they had to put it in, to be fair. And I liked that they got to design the karts. I like that they expanded that the Rainbow Road is an actual road. Like it can be broken. For some reason, that blew my mind. I thought it was it's magical. Not an actual
rainbow.
I thought it was like mythical.
Yeah.
And maybe it sort of is.
Again, lore in Mario Kart's not really a thing.
Yeah, there's no lore. But what I'm saying is it was cool. Like the rock fell and broke the road and they fell into the water below it. And then there was the giant eel from Mario 64 was down there.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're doing some stuff. And I thought that some of the best character time together was when Mario and Donkey Kong were together and they were like arguing and stuff. It was like a big smash monkey. Just go smash some stuff. And that's when you get to find out both their dads don't like each other, like them or aren't proud of them. And they sort of bond over that. And I thought that was some of the best character stuff. And then you got some of the best action when you get Mario and Donkey Kong taking on the Koopas in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, the big
power-up scene.
Side scroller and power-up sequence, which was really great. Getting to see Tanuki suit, giving Donkey Kong a power-up for the very first time ever. I thought that was really unique and awesome.
Also shows everyone can get power-ups as long as you grab one.
I just want to see other scenarios though, like Donkey Kong and different power-ups. Like
I want to see Bowser get
I want to see Donkey Kong in the cat suit.
No, I want to see
what it looks like.
See Bowser get a fire power up to double up his firepower.
That would be pretty crazy.
It's just dumb.
But they could have done I'm surprised they actually didn't go that route, like giving Bowser some sort of power up or at least to play with it a little bit.
They did.
Well, they technically did. At the very end, they gave him the mini mushroom.
Yes.
To trap him, which I thought was actually pretty effective.
But can he technically just run into the cage hard enough to deactivate it by getting hit?
Technically, yes. They do establish that if you get hurt, you lose your power up.
I'm just saying.
So he could hurt himself,
or he could shake the cage off the ledge and it would fall, and that would break him out.
But then again, we are quite literally trying to bring logic into Super Mario Brothers.
Don't do it. But I get it.
The movie plays fast and loose with this logic, which I like because that's what the games do. It really did embrace what Mario is. And that's why I like the Mario Kart sequence. And also Nintendo just probably mandated this because they're like, look, Mario Kart's our highest selling game on Switch. We keep pushing units. We're going to release this movie and we're going to sell even more because of it.
It had a very Mad Max vibe because there were some carts that were like giant and like had giant weapons on them that are never in the games.
There's that one blue-shelled Koopa who had like the giant one that would like crush anything it ran into.
Yeah.
They had no problems, by the way, with like casually killing Koopas and stuff in this movie.
Were they getting killed or were they just getting knocked off the road?
It's hard to say. And what does death in Mario even mean? There's literally a scene where a Koopa like defies Bowser for a second. He's like, well, what if Princess Peach doesn't even like you? And then he just like roasts him and turns him into a dry bones.
Yeah.
But then you have sequences where like the Koopas are getting blown up and stuff, and you literally see their carts like exploding with fire and everything. So you don't really know. Like the concept of death exists in this movie. They make that very clear, which is kind of freaky in some senses. But
I'll tell you. Okay, let's get to
it
the
needs
point.
That dark edge.
What do you give it out of 10?
I've been like fighting with myself all week. Initially, when I saw it for the first time, I was really upset by the pop music. I was just like, oh man, that just really brought some of those scenes down for me. But the more I thought about it and the more I realized how much fun I actually had watching this movie, I'm giving it an 8.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. I don't think it's a 9, but it's definitely up there. Yeah. And I think it's a great kids movie.
It's a great family movie.
Great family movie.
You know, and if you really just love Mario, you love playing the games, like there's something here for you. You're going to get some enjoyment out of it.
And also, I like that they hint at Mario and Peach being together, but even Peach is like, okay, we're not going there right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they kind of hint at that, but they don't go there.
They didn't need to go there initially. I mean, it's very obvious that he's smitten with Peach. Also, it's fun. I want to mention one more thing before we sort of like wrap things up on this whole Mario thing.
Well, honestly, this is all I really want to talk about today. So once we're done with this, I would wrap up the screen.
Okay. Well, I like that you mentioned the whole Mario Kart sequence kind of reminded you of Mad Max.
Yes.
So I was just doing a little bit of research on the actors, just kind of reading up on them a little bit because I know most of them. I didn't know Anya Taylor-Joy, who played Peach.
Yes.
She's been in a lot of other big shows like The Queen's Gambit,
yes,
and a few other things. She's actually going to be in the Furiosa spinoff that's coming up as Furiosa.
Oh.
Apparently, Charlize Theron isn't going to be playing her anymore.
Oh.
And she's going to either it's like a prequel or something. I don't know. But the point is she's going to be playing that character. So I thought that was kind of fitting in here. So
it's kind of funny. What a great visual movie that last one was.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was so good.
So yeah, Super Mario Brothers. It's
awesome.
Way better than I expected it to be. I didn't hate it, and I'm honestly cannot wait to rewatch it again. I have the privilege in about a month. I'm taking my niece to go see it for her birthday.
Yeah,
and I'm probably more excited than she is to watch it actually again. But it was super fun to watch this movie, and I highly recommend it if you're a Nintendo fan. And I hope Nintendo decides to make more movies.
Heck yeah,
you know.
Well, I hope you don't mind if we wrap it up, Corey.
No, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's fine. Guys, thank you again for watching Powerful Nerdcast today. I know we just pretty much focused on Mario, but just wanted to get our thoughts out there on this movie, and clearly we liked it. But most importantly, we want to hear from you guys. If you did have that opportunity to go and check out Super Mario Brothers in theaters, make sure to tell us what you thought about it, whether you liked it, whether you hated it, what your favorite moments, character moments are. If you want to see sequels in the future, maybe some more Nintendo movies, maybe that inevitable Smash Brothers movie. Do you think it's actually going to go down? Let's have a big discussion all about that in the comment section below. Hopefully we'll be able to do another one of these for you guys soon. But that's pretty much it.
So actually, I want to say a few things. We actually have a huge live stream job coming up, and we did this kind of as a fun practice for that. But at the same time, we realized we hadn't done a podcast in a while. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say thanks, guys, for watching. And please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Corey's going to put out some videos because Gundam's back. And this channel is still a huge passion of mine and Corey's. We enjoy it a lot. You know, we can't be full-time YouTubers, but damn it, when we do get around to YouTubing, we always enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching what we do.
All right. Take care, guys.
Peace. Cut that stream. Kill it. Don't let them look at us anymore.
Now.
Cut the stream.